Uh, the planet of Intev Prime was a peaceful, low-resolution world on the outskirts of a retrograde galaxy. All resident species lived in a state of absolute harmony with one another, which was entirely unsuitable as the backdrop of a video game. Then the Astro Armada happened. In true Evil Conqueror fashion, they threw a whole freaking asteroid belt at the planet just to soften them up before the full invasion, the dirty pricks. The world needs a hero! And sure enough, in the time of the planet's greatest need, there isn't a single one to be found anywhere. So they'll have to make do with this derpy asshole. Could kinda use your help, seriously. Conceived for the first National Game Development Month, Project AstroDERP, a code name, the true title will be even sillier, will ultimately bring together several legendary game styles popularized by the original 16-bit console. What you have here is a fully playable, complete game, but it represents less than half the overall intended scope of the project. It shall return! The completed version will have an actual alien armada! Ample annihilation abounds! Multiple derpy protagonists to choose from, each with its own special! Audio! No horseshit, Jack! Irreverent low-res cutscenes! Fully voiced insults! A final boss fight for the ages! All the other bullets had 2 exclamations! Yeah, I had a little bit of fun with this, the rules page here. Survive 16 timed waves to save the planet. Screen elements, player ship. Don't let the eyes fool you, he really is that hopeless. Large asteroid has a split personality. Small asteroid, about to be demoted to meteorite. Multiplier, crank it up to 11. Wave clock, gonna make it. Gonna make it! Extra lives, because we all F up every now and then. And of course, score, your worth as a person in a single number. The power of the multiplier. Every point you earn will be multiplied by that factor in the bottom right corner of the screen, for better or worse. The multiplier goes up 0.01 every time you shoot something. It goes down when something hits the ground. The bigger it is, the bigger the loss. The multiplier also represents the health of the planet. If it falls below 1, the ground will turn yellow as a warning. If it turns red, stop sucking. Should it hit 0, it's instant game over as the whole planet blows up. As the multiplier goes up, so does the game speed. At 4x, you'll be playing twice as fast as you started. At 9x, meet triple speed. Can you make it hit double digits? Every full point threshold you cross with the multiplier in a game, that is, when you first reach 2x, 3x, and so on, you earn an extra life. The more efficient you are in a wave, the greater the bonus you'll get if you survive it, both in points and in multiplier. Pro tip, if you lose your last life after the wave clock runs out, you've still completed the wave, and if the bonus gives you enough multiplier for an extra life, you're back in the game. Because I'm clever like that, and I actually know how to program. Enemies, small asteroid, the base value for these enemies is high in order for the small scale of the multiplier to actually matter. 2,000 points, but yeah, -1 on impact. Large asteroid, 1,000 points, -3 on impact, and splits into 2 small asteroids when shot. Hey, Binary Spirit, good to see you here. Large spinner, 5,000 points, but yeah, -20 when it hits the ground, and yeah, it kills the player if it lands on the ground there. The small spinner, double the points, but only half the damage because it's smaller. And the guided missile, yeah, big points. Yeah, aims for playership. The UFOs are currently away, gathering their forces. Prioritize spinners. There's no reason not to try to hit them at point blank if it comes to that. In fact, you're not penalized the multiplier if you ram them, as opposed to letting them hit the ground, and you'd lose that life either way. Be aggressive. Guided missiles will retarget every time they pulse red. They do so at a constant rate, regardless of the game speed, so they are actually more predictable and easier to shake off when the game is faster. I sort of intended for that, but I made them maybe a little too weak. I'll have to reconsider that. If you get a missile parallel to the ground, lure it near the screen edge, then use the random warp to get behind it. With good timing, it'll fly off the side of the screen, and any enemy object that leaves the screen like that won't come back. Efficiency is affected only by what you shoot and what hits the ground. Anything that falls off the side of the screen or hits the player doesn't count either way. It was a very intentional decision. If you crash into a spinner, that's better than the spinner hitting the ground. It does not penalize your efficiency. Yes, Binary Spirit, I did actually create this myself. This was about 5 years ago at this point. I'm trying to remember what month the National Game Development Month actually occurred in. I want to say July. The small asteroids spawned by shooting a large one retain their progenitor's momentum. Develop an instinct for where the fragments will go, and you should get yourself in trouble a lot less. Low-carb energy drinks are your friends. Stick and move! Try not to blink, and most importantly, remember it's a game. If you stop having fun, walk away for a while. I won't waste your time with the credit and I'll go ahead and bring that up real quick, yes. Absolutely everything Adamar the Zopmeister would. Special thanks, John Soule, John Brooks, and Chris Hawley. Those are the designers of Astro Smash and Space Armada. And Jim Mangiamelli was my playtester back in the day. Intellect font used in the game, courtesy of that website, which might even still be around, I'm not sure. And yeah, contact information. Join my literally tens of followers on Twitter. Or send me a message over Xbox Live. Oh, I suppose you can email me if you must. That email address may or may not still be active today. Anyway, I do have one built-in Game Maker thing, and that's the high score table. That is actually still the built-in mechanics, and you know what? I'm not even sure that shows up on stream. Nope, it doesn't. Let's see. I might be able to get that to just appear real quick, just to make it appear. Yeah, there it is. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I want to put in something in the actual game font and whatnot. That's, for now, it's just using the Game Maker built-in thing there. I can just get that to go away in theory eventually. There we go, I think. Yes, there we are. That was problematic. Anyway, let's get into this then, shall we? So this was made to feel as much like the original game as I could muster without access to the source code. The early waves are nice and slow. It's actually not even really spawning much for me here. There we go. Efficiency calculation, bonus points, and adding to the multiplier. Now, the game speed actually increases dynamically based on the square root of the score multiplier, which is why it's at double speed at 4x and triple speed at 9x. Yeah, it shifts everything, even mid-wave. This does mean that if you're very, very bad at the game and the multiplier goes below 1, the game suddenly gets extremely slow, which is funny. It's playable even by a kid at that point. You could actually beat the game with relative ease, so to speak, and by beat I mean survive the final wave, by playing extremely poorly. but the game is designed in such a way that your score will be absolute rubbish compared to someone who only makes it a quarter of the way through the game, but actually plays very aggressively. I have been... I do fire this up every now and then. There's a couple of other things I could say. The color of the small asteroids is... Oops. Actually the color known as, like, meteor blue. They are, yeah, it's stupid programmer art. One of the themes I want to sort of put together when I make a fuller version of this game is that the enemies are all in like high-def sprites, but the protagonists' characters, the world that they live on, is all retro sprites. Basic idea being the aliens are basically hoping to just destroy this backwater world. Ugh. I have to confess that I've actually only beaten my own game once here. But that's because I'm ridiculously aggressive. To the best of my knowledge, only one other person has ever beaten the game, and their best score is a lot less than my own. And I kid you not, that other person is none other than 5-time United States Crossword Puzzle Championship winner Tyler Hinman. I'm not joking. I actually had a contest on Twitter when I first released this game to award 2 decks of playing cards to the first person to prove to me that they beat the game, because only I knew what the ending screen looked like. And he posted proof that he did in fact beat it. And I gave him that prize. Now, I have been wondering, I was going to actually offer a second prize. I haven't done so. In theory, this game can handle a score that would go beyond the 8 digits that fit at the bottom of the screen. In theory. Oh dear, okay. Oh, I kind of missed that spinner on the right there. Oops. Ugh. Now, I only stream at 29.97 frames a second, but the game runs at 60. Looks pretty smooth. Actually, still quite happy with how this goes. I added in the warning pulse to the homing missiles. You get a better feel of when it is they're going to turn, so you have a better sense of when to try to hit the warp to get behind them if you need to. Down to 2 lives here. I actually had the extra life icon turn yellow as an extra visual cue that your game might be nearing an end. It actually turns red when you're on your last life. So that you don't have to focus on that number down there. It's like, oh, you see the color change. It's like, oh, it's running low. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not doing very well right now. The game has 16 waves total. Each wave is slightly longer than the previous. So at this point, I might want to start just trying to... Ugh. That's my last life. I need to be extra careful here. I might have burnt myself out on the actual Astro Smash. What I do like about this is the frame rate makes it really convenient to just quickly move into place, snapshot at what you want to hit. The high score table's on the screen right now, but yeah, I'm just gonna close that up. Actually, I kind of want to try again. It feels so slow when you first start. Yeah, it doesn't last long at this rate. I have gotten the multiplier up to 11 once. And holy crap. So you might be wondering where you can get a copy of this yourself. And the answer is, I kind of don't know at the moment. Back in, the time I originally created this, there was a page where all the games made for National Game Development Month could be downloaded. And I, sure enough, had it there. I made only one edit to this game since then, and that was to allow it to run in a window. Couch Potato, hey, good to see you here. Which is what I'm actually doing now. You are seeing the game at a different resolution than I am, as I'm actually scaling it like an old CRT screen. Be interesting to see what it looks like if I watch back my stream here. But probably looks better that way, actually. With the possible exception of the spinners. I very much still have the game handy. I still have all the source code, and I do intend to go back to it at some point. But this is a pretty playable deal right now, and I suppose if you wanted to try it yourself, I could email it to you. I don't have a link I could send you to download it, so yeah, just send me a message here on Twitch with your email address. I promise I will not share it with anyone else, barring a court order or your permission. And I can simply email you a copy of this if you would like to try it yourself. In theory, the game should be able to keep playing with a 9-digit score. What should happen is that it rolls over the score that you see at the bottom, but the high score table screen will actually properly track the final digit. What I would like to do that the full version of the game is something similar to the Atari 2600 Laser Blast. When you get the million in that game and you see all the exclamation points. What I would actually like is for that 8-digit display to instead read "Holy crap." And then it will just show you your proper score at the end of the game. In theory, it should be possible to get a 9-digit score, but just only barely. And I would love someone who is stupid good at games like this to try to actually make that happen. The game should be sufficiently playable that someone sufficiently skilled can do that. And I would actually love to see it happen. It's tempting to try to put another prize for that on the line, but now is not a good time for me to really offer things of that nature. But it is something that I would love to see. suppose if nothing else, I could award bennies. But I think something more physically substantial would be worthwhile there. Oh dear. Yeah, most of my work on this game, obviously, you see programmer art. The vast majority of the work I spent on this game over the course of that month was to get the game to feel right. I basically just wanted to modernize the really bad design elements of the original game, but otherwise make it feel as much like Astro Smash as I could. I named the AI behind what spawns the rocks and spinners and whatnot, the missiles, the Nemesis. And I spent a lot of time playtesting the game and tweaking spawn percentages and whatnot, so as to try to make it feel like everything appears at a decent spawn rate. The really nasty high end of the scale deals, the really unfair stuff when you get 7 spinners all at once, technically can still happen, but are ridiculously rare. Oof. And for the game to basically just be as playable as possible, while still being as Astro Smash as possible. The colors of the backgrounds are actually based on the colors of the original game. It's the 6 background colors of the original game are here. For waves 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, and 16. And the other colors are the transitional colors, averaging out the RGB values, going from one to the next. It has a lot of little details like that in it. Oh, sheesh. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I hit what was the warp button for Astro Smash, what I had it set to for the emulator. Oops. Not the actual button I have it set to here. Dull. Yeah. The later the wave is, the more common the white stuff is. Actually, the more common all the higher level stuff is. It's actually based on the wave number. You may notice that the original, wave 1 doesn't even have a large asteroid in it. You'll only get small ones. The game starts out very easy. A little kid can probably manage a certain amount of forward progress in the game. If you want to see the world blow up, it'll actually take a while, but it can happen. If I don't shoot anything, and you see the ground is turned yellow, yeah, I'll actually start moving slower. The rocks will fall slower, and my shots will travel slower and be not as long. All that is dynamic. Yeah, I will get no bonus at all. No points, no multiplier. Now that it's wave 2, big rocks will fall, and those will damage the ground faster. But yeah, the speed is still based on the square root, so when it gets down low, it gets really slow. So yeah, even somebody really, really bad at this, who has to think about every single rock hunt for the key to fire every single time. The game will slow down significantly for them, probably a little too much. But hey, I made it in a month. I was a lot more concerned about how the game feels for those who are at the top end of the scale, so to speak. Yeah, it's kind of funny, especially when it gets down really low, just how much of a crawl it's at. And it changes dynamically, too. The shots look so tiny. And there goes the planet. Yeah, so that is the current version of it. I have not touched it in quite some time, but yes, it still exists, and it's I'm happy with how playable it is. I'm not proud or tired. And there's your Alice's restaurant reference. It's a stream on Thanksgiving. I had to do something, right? Well, it's Thanksgiving for like 2 more minutes in my time zone, but there you have it. Yeah. Hey, laid back. Good to see you here. I think you just caught the tail end of things, though. I think I'm going to be getting out of here shortly. But yeah, so anybody who stuck around to the end of this test stream and would like to try this game themselves, yeah, I will gladly send you a copy. It won't cost you anything. It was free for everybody back in the day. I don't see any reason why. And something tells me there isn't going to be a massive rush. But yes, I want to make this into a full-fledged mashup game between this and Space Armada. I had quite a few plans and a lot of ideas that I really like, and it is a game I would very much like to see instantiated eventually. But yeah,